Can somebody who has no experience at all with 3D printing go from a big heavy box to a finished project in an afternoon? Sounds like a challenge. Let's find out. So I know absolutely nothing about 3D printing, and I've been avoiding getting into 3D printing because 3D printing looks kind of complicated, and honestly it seems kind of expensive. We'll talk about all that at the end of the video, but for now let's see if we can get this thing out of the box and actually make something with it. This is a Creality K2. Creality sent this to me to use on the channel. They did a really good job packaging this thing. This thing is loaded with foam and extra cardboard reinforcement. In the second layer of that foam, you're going to find some important accessories, and that foam is jammed in there tight. You'll have to give it a good solid tug to get it out. This first piece contains a small spool of white filament and some various parts. You will need those later, don't lose them. The second piece has your power cord, a spool holder, as well as some tools. Now you've got to lift the printer itself out of the box. For that, you want to grab a friend and get some help. My advice is to pull all of the foam out because there's a lot of foam in there. When you get it out of the box, it's going to be covered in tape and plastic. You've got to peel all that off. Keep an eye out on the left-hand side of the machine for what appears to be a piece of cardboard. That piece of cardboard contains the glass top. If you look down inside the printer itself, you'll find the CFS. That's the big filament holder that goes on top of the printer. It's wrapped in a plastic bag. You want to grab that plastic bag and give it a good hard pull. There's a bunch of packing foam down at the bottom of the printer and it's in there tight, so give it a good hard pull. You're not going to break anything. Then you've got to go through and remove all of the packing foam, cardboard, and tape, and there's quite a bit in there. Two large pieces of solid foam down at the bottom, and then there are these two plastic arms, one on the right side and one on the left side. You need to snap those off, and I say snap because it's going to sound like you broke something when you pop them off. I didn't get any footage of that. Apparently the SD card in the camera was corrupt. Your next step is to grab an Allen key. You can use the ones they included in the packaging, and there are 4 screws you want to remove. They're pretty easy to find because there's some yellow arrows pointing towards those screws. Just unscrew them and slip them out. Now look underneath the top of the machine up towards the front. There's a ribbon cable here. You want to pull that tape. This cable connects to the touchscreen control pad, and that touchscreen is going to connect to the front of the machine. Now that touchscreen, it's not really clear which end's the top and which end is the bottom. You want to look for this piece here. That piece is on the bottom. It lines up with a matching hole in the machine. Thread the ribbon through that wide slot in the middle, and it's not readily apparent which side of the ribbon is the top, but there's a crease in the ribbon and it wants to just naturally fold along that crease so that it's in the right position. If you've got big fingers like me, this next step is going to give you some trouble. You've got to put that ribbon into the touch screen. If you've got small fingers, this is going to be easy. When you get that done, you want to go ahead and install the glass top, place the CFS on top of the machine, then spin it all around so you can have access to the back. I don't know what this next piece is called, but it's important. It's got 4 inputs and 1 output. You can use this to connect up to 4 of those CFS units, which will allow you to connect 16 different spools, 16 completely different colors, into one machine. If you don't have a bunch of extra CFS units, then you can use the standard spool holder. So out of the box, you can hold 5 spools, 5 different colors. You just screw this into the back. It's pretty straightforward. You'll have 4 pieces of plastic tubing. This one right here is the spare. There's one designed to go with the standard spool, a long tube and a short tube. You need the long tube and the short tube to connect the CFS. And fortunately, they've all got clearly marked pictures showing exactly where they go. It's kind of hard to mess this part up. The short tube goes from the printer to the piece you just screwed onto the back. The long tube goes into one of those 4 inputs and into your CFS. You will then find 2 cables. One is a 6-pin cable. That one runs from the printer to the CFS, and the other runs from the CFS to the piece you just screwed onto the back. That should be a 4-pin plug. It's got a 90-degree bend on one of the ends. Plug in the power cord and you've assembled the machine. Well, we're not done yet because we still have to load the filament and actually print something, but the process of setting up the printer took me about 2 hours. And during that entire time, I did not look at the owner's manual once, not a single time. It was completely unnecessary. On the box itself, there was a QR code. If you scan that QR code, it'll take you to a video that Creality put together showing the installation process. And that is all you need. How long did it take? It probably took me about 2 hours, but I had to juggle 2 different cameras and a bunch of lights, and still the lighting was terrible because I'm working over in a corner over here. If you're barely tech competent, if you could hook up a basic inkjet printer to your computer, there's no reason why you could have done that entire process in 30 minutes, especially if you had a friend help you pull the machine out of the box. The next step is to load your filament, and Creality hooked me up with 4 rolls of filament. So big thanks to Creality for hooking me up with this awesome setup. I'll put some links down below and some links up here so you can check out this printer for yourself. Loading filament's pretty much idiot proof. You just put the spool in the CFS and feed the filament through the tube. The CFS will sense it, grab it, and pull it through. The filament spools all come with an RFID tag. The CFS can read that tag and will tell the printer and all of your software what type of filament and what color filament you've loaded into each slot. Now's a good time to go ahead and download the software on your PC and go ahead and download the app on your smartphone or tablet. It's like everything else these days, there is an app for it. The app will give you access to the machine from anywhere, which is really handy because the machine has an onboard camera. You can start a long print and then go about your day and just grab your phone anytime you want and check on your print. Now comes what's probably the hardest part. You have to design something in 3D software. But the good news is there's an active, vibrant 3D printing community, and there's a whole world out there just a quick Google search away loaded with free downloads. So all you gotta do is find something useful to print, download a file, and literally just drag it into the software. You go into the slicer, you hit slice, and then you hit print. It took me 2 minutes to find something that I wanted to print and 2 minutes to send it to the machine and let it do its thing. I actually printed a couple of things. This is a wire holder for soldering. They call it a helping hands or helping fingers. And I went to the website for my CNC machine and they've got a bunch of downloadable files where you can just print off attachments for the CNC machine. I'm just absolutely amazed by the amount of just free stuff out there that you can just download and print. Which brings us to the other big elephant in the room, and that is the cost. The 3D printer itself is not cheap, but 3D printers have been getting cheaper and better over time. I have some buddies who got into it about a decade ago, and $500 or $600, all it got you was a basic one spool, small open frame machine. And now for roughly the same money, you can get this very large machine. The build volume on this thing is a 260 millimeter cube. That's about 10¼ inches in each of 3 directions. That's large enough to print off an entire bookshelf speaker in one pass without having to make 2 prints and glue them together later. And if you think that's too expensive, you can also buy a smaller, less expensive machine. Creality's Ender 3 is about $240 right now, and that's exactly what I paid the last time I bought an inkjet printer. So if all you want to do is make smaller projects like this out of PLA, then you absolutely can get a capable 3D printer for $250. Now the advantage to the bigger printer with the enclosed case. The enclosed case does a better job of climate control, which means it works better for high temperature plastics like ABS. If you plan on printing things that go in a car, you really should be using ABS. The fumes from ABS are toxic. The enclosed case helps with those fumes, but it's not entirely airproof. So I would recommend picking up some type of air cleaner. I actually bought one of Creality's air cleaners. As soon as I get my hands on some ABS filament, I'm gonna start making things for the car. Now that I've printed off a couple of things and I see just how easy this is, I really wish I would have gotten into 3D printing years ago, but if you've been waiting, now is the time. It's never been easier, it's never been cheaper, and the printers have never been better. They've reached that threshold where you can get a production quality professional machine at a price point that a hobbyist would find attractive. To see the exact pricing, click this link right here. Thanks to Creality for sending out this machine. I'm gonna have so much fun with it. Before I go, I need to give a big thank you to all of my patrons and a bonus shout out to $25 and up patrons Jonathan, Timothy, Joe, and Bo. I'm Justin. This is the DIY Audio Guy YouTube channel, and I will see you on the next adventure.